Hello and welcome to another Company of Heroes 3 game. My name is Fancy Josh, and today I've got a game for you between aSIIDemolitionHammer as our US teal player, Ghost as our blue US player. And their opponents today are going to be Evelynn as our Wehrmacht and BlueSkidrow Legion as our Africa Corps. So only British missing from this game. This is the new 2v2 map, Alamein. El Alamein. I think I'm saying that right. There is another new 2v2 map, but I saw this one and decided to give it a cast. So you've got these. I mean, these cutoff points here on the side are totally bizarre, but you need to control them to have the fuel. Relatively, I mean, I would say challenging to take from your opponent, but certainly not impossible. Got a ton of munitions here in the middle, then you got this fuel way up on that top side there. Red player doing something interesting, opening with two motorcycles here. Blue player has opened with Engineer and Weasel. Going to be driven away by the motorbike here, and actually motorbike thinking about chasing, not going to happen. Our purple player prioritizing this middle section, building lots of field defenses to cover the victory point. While our teal player has used a weasel of his own to pick up this fuel here in the middle. You see a Kettenkrad out and about here. Kettenkrad, of course, has tremendous capturing power, but literally zero fighting capability. See how that works out for him this game. Scouts moving up on this bike here on the top. Engineers loaded up in the weasel. Going to close the distance here and might even chase. Motorbike, of course, very, very quick here. So going to get away, no problem. But Weasel is going to grab this fuel up top. So double special operations by our US players, very interesting. Now this special operations does have indirect fire, so if this game goes long enough and we get into a campy situation, then the indirect fire from the whiz-bang could be pretty decent. See if that ends up happening. We're seeing both Weasels upgraded with their heavy machine guns there. Gonna start fighting it out. We do see an MG on the field as well, and MG's all over the place here. US players both going for weapon support groups, so we are going to see that heavy machine gun spam from both of them. I decided to include the ELOs today just to give you guys a sense of what the skill level of these players are, especially because I don't cast them ever, and it might be interesting for you folks to see that. Now I will say that I don't intend to do this every game. I've talked about it in the past. You know, I don't like players to come into my videos expecting one player or the other to win necessarily, and I try to focus on cool and interesting builds instead. And I think that ELO on the screen takes away from that a little bit. But if you've got strong feelings about that one way or the other, please let me know in the comments. I'm thinking about starting a poll, and we'll see where we end up at. Man, the Germans really tied down this area big time there, putting all sorts of barbed wire. This teal weasel barely got out of there by the skin of his teeth, and did manage to trade a motorcycle there. So red player feeling a little bit behind in terms of build. Does have a clown car situation here. Are those guys being upgraded? No, but this is going for combat half tracks, so we're going to see the 259 upgrade here on this particular half track here. Weasel closing the gap. Bazooka's in support though, and that is going to have to. They are going to push that unit back. And red player, seeing the bazookas on the field, immediately switched out of a 250 into Panzer Grenadiers. Did he cancel the upgrade? No, he didn't. So we are going to see that here. And German players definitely on the back foot, struggling for that fuel, struggling for fuel overall here. They're behind by at least 15 per minute once this capture finishes. We do see a motor pool on the way for our German players, and a mechanized support center on the way. Excuse me, yeah, motor pool on the way for one of our US players. Mechanized support center on the way for our other. What did he go for here? He went for infantry support center there. So, gonna have some build variety from our US players. M3 on the way for our teal player. Interesting. Going from Mechanized Support Center into M3. Wonder what his plan there is. And this game has been very, very fast-paced to start us off here, I feel like. Like I said, I don't like I've said in the past, I don't cast very many team games. So I'm not exactly sure what to expect from a meta perspective. That said, I do play 2v2s, and have seen them before, so I don't know. Interesting. 259 upgrade is completed. We're seeing the motorcycle grabbing up some territory on the top side. I think that's a good use of those motorcycle, of the motorcycle, I should say. Bazooka's closing the gap here. There are Panzer Pioneers in this unit to increase its fire rate, but Bazooka's continuing to do a number on that unit. But as long as the German player doesn't lose 250, he can trade like that all day long. We got a 251 on the field for our purple Wehrmacht player. Also going to be driven back by some bazookas. Looks like our German did lose this heavy machine gun, and bazookas are going to go for the steal here. They are going to get it. That's an unfortunate loss. But 259 potentially hunting the bazooka. They're going to try and stop this heavy machine gun from getting away. But I think that's gone. No way they... I mean, they can stop the steal here, but it's going to be tough for them to get it. There are grenadiers on the scene, but this AA half-track making life miserable for our Germans. Weasel moved up onto the top side to secure some territory. We do see a Greyhound on the field here for our blue player. And we're seeing resource cache. Where's that going down? Back here in base. Yep, gonna get them, bump them up to 15 fuel. Love to see that. I think caches are much, much better in team games. Even using this Greyhound to clear out this barbed wire. Lovely to see that. Germans did end up getting the heavy machine gun back. And a pack gun on the way after spotting the Greyhound. So both teams doing what they need to do to stay in this game. Definitely a fuel advantage for our U.S. players here. We could see some... could see our U.S. players stay on light vehicles for quite a while. We're adding on another M3 here. And I do think we're going to see another Greyhound potentially. I'd love to see him go for the improved barrels upgrade. But I guess this is the... Yeah, see, it feels like our blue player should have gone for mechanized, and our teal player should have gone for infantry support, but that's not the case. So, gonna go for that rapid repairs. Okay, so I think that might be the plan, is that they're gonna upgrade this thing to be able to repair really quickly in an aura, and then the blue player could take advantage of that repair aura as well. We're seeing Jaegers on the fields, we're seeing flak half-tracks on the fields, we're seeing Panzer Grenadiers, so just a huge variety of units here. And kind of, we're seeing our players playing their lane right now, not spreading out. And this is a dead motorcycle, surely. Oh, Greyhound missing, though. 259, gonna move up, drive back that Greyhound with the support of the flak. And motorcycle barely surviving. You see a second 259 here, this time with Jaegers inside. So it looks like our German player wants to get real aggressive with these guys, bait this Greyhound into a fight, and then bail out those Jaegers. Is going to happen here, maybe? Not going to happen, alright. And just a lot of firepower all in one little area here. Jaegers jumping out of the vehicle, closing the distance a little bit here. Those scouts providing vision at maximum range. They did manage to pick up the Weasel. Bazooka's moving forward, going to drive back those 259s. There's a fight happening on the bottom side here. We're seeing phosphorus rounds used to blind the German. The pack gun is in the area, but can't get a shot there. And looks like our red player is going to be able to move in and secure this victory point for the time being. Panzer Grenadiers duking it out with those captain. Would like to see these units close the gap there, but not going to do so. And, you know, well, I was about to say this game feels very meta-y to me, but then I was like, wait a minute, it's absolutely not. At least from a 1v1 perspective. I think the only player doing like the truly meta strategy is our teal player with heavy machine guns, bazookas, and M3s on the field. He's got one of each, which is very cool. Greyhound moving into the area to help destroy this fuel cache, deny those resources to their opponents. They have another fuel cache up here? No, they don't. So U.S. players encroaching on the German side here, denying them their fair share of the fuel, and picking up that resource cache is a nice find there. Is that a recon tractor? It is. I was thinking it was a recon tractor, but then I didn't want to say that and have it be a recovery vehicle. And more half-tracks on the way for our U.S. player. And actually getting the improved armor, so going to increase the effectiveness of this half-track armada here. But what's interesting about this half-track armada is that it's not the typical 75mm spam. It's one of each and a fourth one on the way here. Scout's going to barely survive that engagement there. You see a Steamel here, going to help out against the heavy machine guns. Pack here to help out against the M3s. But 250 going to be driven back by those Zookas there. Grenadiers not doing enough. Might go down. Phosphorus round used instead, in addition to the 75mm barrage. There's a fight breaking out here. Both units scuffling with this Greyhound. And what's next here? A second reconnaissance tractor? What the? All right, he's very clearly got a strategy in mind, and I think the strategy is indirect fire. We're seeing that come down on these heavy machine guns now. Second recon tractor on the way. Commandos on the scene, going to help capture some territory here. And feels like our U.S. players are in a really good position here. Germans are going to need to make a move, and soon, to stop this bleed. They're down to 200 victory points here. So 259 still alive. Not an easy thing to do in the face of bazookas, AT guns, and Greyhounds, but this is going to be a big fight here. Flak going to be forced back. Greyhound getting aggressive. A little bit courageous there. Panzerjäger doing their thing, holding back the line. You can see those commandos trying to get a shot with their bazookas, but not going to happen. Captain going down. Not sure what took him out there. Might have been a barrage. The whole building collapsed, so Captain lost. Fight on this top side, heavy machine gun, borrowed from his teammate. This was the Purple's heavy machine gun originally. And it looks like going to be commandos for a little while here. We do see a second one on the field. And a vehicle heavy army for our teal player and our red player. Very interesting. We do see a Nubelwerfer. It's been barraging away, but hasn't done anything truly spectacular yet that I've seen. 75mm barrages, that indirect fire, going to be really obnoxious to deal with. Suspect we'll be seeing lots and lots of barrages and smoke from the recon tractors there. Pack gun on the way. And Greyhound using the canister shot ability to absolutely nuke those infantry. 259's trying to help out. Flak as well. There are some commandos ready for this. They're going to move in, switch to bazooka mode here, and get some shots out. And fortunately for our German player, a lot of shots missed by those commandos, or that could have easily been a dead Flak. And so I think our German player knows where his opponent is. Let me switch to red here so I can show you clearly. Yeah, so you can see those marks coming out. Does know where his opponent is in the fog of war. All sorts of barrages coming down on that left side. And a Stug on the way for our red player. I think Stug is going to be really, really good against these commandos, right? It's got that really big front armor. It's even going to do okay against the 75mm. But it's going to help him push into areas he wouldn't otherwise be able to push in. Bazooka commandos moving in. More commandos on that right side also moving in. But really nice use of the vehicles here, keeping them all alive. You see the improved M9 rockets for our blue player now, so those bazookas going to do 33% more damage. An AT gun setting up. Smoke coming out from the tractors, going to let our German player move into this area if he wants to. Even smoking out this left side as well, so we're going to see a big push across the line potentially. Germans really need to get their hands on one of those victory points. That's a dead 259. Barely going down to those commandos. Flak fully healed up though, suppressing one of the commandos and backing away from the second set. Motorcycle going to mark these commandos, do a ton of damage here. Look how fast they're losing health there. Not going to connect. Where's the AT gun? Way far back here, missing its shot on the motorcycle. And German player going to hold on to that area. You see some teal commandos on the field as well. Stumo going to be driven back by the bazookas. And here comes a barrage. Doesn't look like it's going to connect with anything meaningful. Getting a nice hit on the heavy machine gun there. I'll send that unit back to base. And yeah. Wow. Scout car getting very aggressive here. Stug finding the AT gun. Is going to take him down, but not before losing the flak. Jaeger's not in a great spot. Stug obviously not going to be too good against this Greyhound because of the high mobility. 259 going to steal away the AT gun there. Very nicely done. Blue player moving out of his base in a big way. And man, Teal getting super aggressive here, pushing purple all the way back into his base. And is going to secure this fuel point for himself there. That's going to feel really darn good. Stug trying to hold the line here against these infantry push. Bazooka's actually getting a decent connection there. And Stug's going to try and deal with that heavy machine gun so that his infantry can support. Do see some commandos trying to sneak around on the wings there. Did Greyhound go down? No, he didn't. Bet 2 Greyhound. Going to be pretty darn scary. Wow, nice pickup with those pack guns at maximum range, finding the 75mm. It's going to feel pretty good. We do see martyrs on the way for our red player. He does have a second Stug on the field to deal with the commandos. And commandos actually getting all sorts of penetrating shots here, and they do have that increased damage there. Phosphorus rounds going down on that heavy machine gun, going to force him out of there. Artillery barrage from the recon tractors helping out. And we do see a heavy machine gun going down on that top side. Commandos could steal that away. We also saw a U.S. machine gun going down here, going to be recaptured. So, did he destroy it? He might have destroyed it. That heavy machine gun on the top side. Duke's moving back in, recognizing that he really needs to control some victory points here. Nice little barrage from the Nubelwerfer there, connecting pretty well with the heavy machine gun. Going to enable those Panzer Grenadiers to try to capture, but they are going to retreat, having been pinned and wasted by the AA gun. And Teal player able to rotate into the middle and make our purple player's life pretty darn miserable. What do we see go down there? Nothing, just a vehicle exploding. Carcass, I should say. So, I mean, it feels like our German army composition is looking pretty darn good here. They're going to have to deal with potentially some 76mm Shermans here. That's like the scariest tank they're going to have to deal with, but it is going to be whiz-bangs for our Teal player. And with how many weapon teams our purple player has, that could be pretty freaking scary. And another recon tractor. Okay. I mean, it's hard for me to question. I mean, I know for a fact that yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ghost. What am I trying to? Are my colors flipped? Oh, you know what's flipped is the elos. So I've got my Germans on the right, but the Germans are on the right side of the screen. But their ELO is showing for the US player on the right side of the screen, so that's why I'm having a hard time here. But Skidrow is our red player, literally the #1 in the world as Africa Corps, building 1.5 million of these recon tractors. Is very, very cool to see. That's a dead 250. Martyr hanging in the back there, so basically the Greyhound's going to have to pick his fights very carefully here. Nubelwerfer coming down. Right on all these half-tracks and heavy machine guns to make their lives a little bit miserable. Not going to get any real damage done there. Motorcycles sneaking forward, capturing this victory point, stopping that bleed at 100 points to go. And here comes the whiz-bang, though. Going to miss its first barrage, but its presence is now known on the field. And that's going to be tough for our purple player to deal with. AT gun setting up, going to get a shot, and 2 great connections there. Going to pick up that M3. Teal player really hurting for units right now. Double tractor barrage, going to force those commandos back. Stug's unafraid of this Greyhound. Martyr also helping out in the area. But scouts are picking up this top point, but not for long. Grenadiers managed to sneak into this bottom side victory point. And wow, purple player managing to scoot out of his base here. Feeling pretty good about that. I'm going to hide the elo here because it's bothering me that they're on the wrong sides of the screen. And wow, okay, so a flame tank here. Flame Panzer for our red player. Has locked in his armored battle group. He's probably had that for a while and I've just completely missed it because there's so much chaos in this game. It's a love-hate relationship for me with 2v2s, right? There's just so much freaking action that I can't talk about everything that I want to talk about. For example, we're seeing a Sherman on the way here. And we already see a Stug on the battlefield. We also see a Hellcat on the scene here. So Hellcat is an interesting choice. I mean, our red player has a ton of vehicles and not a ton of anti-tank. He's only got the Jaeger and the Martyr as dedicated anti-tank sources. And we'll see if that ends up making an impact here. Another barrage there. Looks like it could have been... Was that a propaganda barrage? It was. Did that unit just go down? Grenadiers just dying to that Sherman. Unfortunately for him. So I wonder if our purple player is going to be able to make it to Tigers. Based on how low their how low their victory points are right now. 75mm scuffling with this Stug. Hellcat even going to get involved here. And a phosphorus round, blinding round, going to block the Stug there. Could see a blinding shot from this Stummel. Not going to happen. Is going to be a dead Stummel. Not going to happen. Wow. Martyr saving the day against the Hellcat. Stewart undissuaded, or excuse me, Sherman undissuaded here, pushing in. Teal Commandos trying to capture this point, not quite standing on it there. We are seeing a flyover here by both players, Teal and Blue, both calling in some strafing. What is that ability called? Yeah, anti-infantry loiter. Doing a number on our Germans, keeping them all the way back in their base. Teal adding on another Sherman here. Purple player going up to a third pack gun. So has all the AT covered here. Look at these guys just hanging out, dude. With their artillery barrages, that's surely a dead Panzerjäger. None of these units are focusing him, though. And Stugs are going to barely escape. Commando's nearly going down, but did manage to escape there. And wow. So Germans bleeding quick here. Only controlling 2 victory points controlled by our U.S. players. And they need to move fast or this is going to be a game over pretty darn quick here. And is this armored car? What you doing there, M3? Looks like he's going to try and steal the mortar there. Is going to get a unit on it, but Panzer Grenadier is going to make short work of that mortar. I would imagine. Not focusing. Barely going to get it. Wow. Can't believe he stole that. I mean, he traded a half-track for a mortar. I don't know if that was worth it. Hellcat continuing to help out against these Stugs. Here come the double Martyr, though. Going to force back that Hellcat. We do see a mortar barrage from those tractors. Just continuing to force units back here. I do like this decision by our purple player to kind of scoot up here towards the middle, get close to his teammate, so that the support is close by there. Stummel gonna help out against the commandos, but here comes a rocket barrage, AT guns, and Stummel forced to reposition. Stummel having to move forward into the bazookas there. Might go down. Barely skirting the barrage there, is going to live. Pack guns being flanked here by the Shermans. That is the 76mm Shermans, of course. And actually getting in behind here in a big way. Pack's in a bad spot. Stug coming to help out. But I do think that these Shermans are in a really bad spot here. We're going to see a blinding shot on one of the Shermans there. Could be seeing both of them going down. One going down. 75mm barraging. Does he have vision? Attack round not going to connect through the phosphorus. And wow. So US player did manage to wipe a couple of those AT guns, but ultimately not destroying them. Here comes the commando blob in this, just in the side of that propaganda barrage, so going to be forced back. At least one of the units is. And this game is on a knife's edge for our German players. They do have enough control of the victory points to not be bleeding. But Bazooka's throwing down phosphorus. Greyhound still alive, going to help out here. You see our US players really trying to pick up those pack guns, wants to deny their existence. And should get one of them here. Greyhound barely going to escape. One pack gun going down, more commandos on the scene. Should be able to get this second AT gun as well. So that's 600 manpower down the drain for our Germans at a critical moment in the game. Stog's moving down in a big way here to help out. You see both armies really focused on the central area here. And Teal is going to pick up the center point, so the bleed is back on. Germans need to do something real quick here. We do see another Sherman being added on, and a Kettenkrad, interestingly enough. I think that Kettenkrad could have a potential to sneak down to that bottom side, steal it away here. Martyr's helping out against the 75mm, but the whiz-bang going to force everybody back there. You see two Hellcats on the field here. Going to do really well against the Stogs, but God, look at our red player's army. Dude, that's just crazy. All of the light vehicles. Does he have any, like, critical techs here? Yeah, he's got emergency repair kits. He's got the rapid advance to capture territory. He's got Panzer Storm if he wants to buff up all his units. So, what a crazy build. I mean, the fact that he's preserved all these units is just truly amazing to me. He's got two of these Flame Panzers. He's going for, what is that, his fourth Martyr now? Wow. I mean, those Flame Panzers, they're just holding down this top side. They're going to absolutely wreck those commandos and bazookas. That said, the commandos and bazookas do have a little bit of veterancy under their belts, so can do okay against the Flame Panzers at Vet 0. But we'll see. But look at all these mines up here, making his opponent's life truly miserable. I mean, he literally has one Panzer Pioneer, and its entire job is to plant mines. Here come the Stog Flame Panzer combo. One of the Flame Panzers is going to be forced back. And you can see him trying to bait those commandos into the mines, but not quite working out for him. Panzer Grenadiers in the middle, trying to stop the bleed here, are going to succeed. Greyhound has something to say about it. Just now hitting Vet 3 using canister shot, doing a million and a half damage to those Panzer Grenadiers. You do see an anti-infantry loiter being called in by our blue player. Going to make it very dangerous to be in this middle area. Whizbang also contributing. Kettenkrad in the barrage there, as well as the AT gun. It does look like our US players are going to manage to secure this victory point once again. Commandos even managed to get their hands on this top victory point for a little bit there. And we do see that bleed coming in. Flame Panzer being targeted. Stog having to back away. Not going to finish the capture, so the bleed is still on. Germans tick down to 56 points here. Going to trade a bunch of commandos out, though. Can they get that one commando on his way out the door? No, they can't. Oh, my God. Martyrs from the side going to totally nuke that Hellcat. 4 Martyrs. Very, very scary. And an all-vehicle army, which he's managed to preserve here. Here come the 76mm, though. Getting very aggressive. Going to drive all these units back from the middle. And Purple Purple is down bad right now, being wiped on the retreat here. Commando's even going to be in the way, switching to the heavy machine gun mode. Looks like they're going to get that Nubelwerfer. And they are going to get him. Panzer Grenadiers going to make it out okay. But again, they're still on the clock here. Here come the Martyrs. And red player needs to trade some units for map control here, I would say. Commando's going to make short work of the Martyrs, though. Not having a good angle. Here comes the Flame Panzer, though. Doing okay against this heavy machine gun. Hellcats from behind, though. This is going to be a ton of dead vehicles. Ton of dead vehicles. Yep, 76mm even getting in. Bazooka's going to pick up the Flame Panzer. Stug trying to help out, but now a victim victim potentially on its own here. And there's the anti-infantry loiter. And we're going to see a surrender from our Germans there. Wow. That was a fun little game. Total chaos. I can't believe Legion had like 60 million tanks there at the end. Managing to keep them alive despite 7 vehicle losses. I felt like our U.S. players were working together a little more effectively in that middle area. I mean, we definitely saw both teams working together, but Teal just kind of ran over Purple, really forced him out of the area, and just was able to hold that bottom side so long. Gave them a tremendous field advantage throughout the game. Yeah, very cool. Hope you guys enjoyed the new map, and I will see you in the next video.